Hello everybody, welcome to this instructional module for the Chapter 1 of Microsoft Word 2010. I'll be releasing these for every chapter, and within it you'll find pretty much the overview of the chapter itself. I'm not going to go through everything step by step. I'm just going to give you the basics of the chapter. What you need to do in turn is then take that information, go through all of the activities within the chapter to familiarize yourself with the procedures. I also will have PowerPoints that should be already up on the site. And also there's some additional resources for you on your student CD that you should have gotten with the book. If you didn't get these CDs with the book, it's very important. You need them to complete everything within the class. There are student data files that you have to access, and without the disk itself, the book is, I don't want to say useless, but can't really do anything with it. So you should have the student CD that comes with the book. It should be green, and it's asking me to change the color scheme. Okay. It should be green. Should say Go Office 2010 on it. That'll have all your data files on it. There's also a blue one that has podcasts on it. Don't worry if you don't have that one. You need the green one to complete the class. However, the blue disc does have podcasts that you can listen to that tell you how to do specific things in Microsoft Word. Also, there's a purple one that says student videos on it. And this one has pretty much close to what I'm creating right now. An in-depth step-by-step instructional set of what to do within each chapter. So if you need help accessing any of these or finding anything within the chapter itself, let me know. I do want to overview the test structure as well, because you're probably thinking, well, we have a test coming up in about 2 weeks. What should I do? And the test itself is going to be project-based. There aren't going to be any questions, there aren't going to be any true and false or multiple choice or whatnot. Pretty much if you can complete the homework assignments, you can do the test. And that's what it's going to be. You're going to have a bunch of instructions that I'm going to upload to MyPeak. You're going to download them, complete it, and then upload it within the time slot, which they're usually due on Sundays, along with your homework. Because this is an accelerated course, it's 7 weeks, it is going to be a little bit intense. I encourage you to get everything done as soon as you possibly can and make sure that you know everything so whenever you have the test you're prepared. Now, I do have due dates for all of the assignments. In a sense, you have to have everything done by the end of the class. That doesn't mean turn everything in by the end of the class because, I mean, you need to know this stuff to complete the tests. A couple of you, the reason why I say this is a couple of you, may not have your books yet. Things may be going on. If you don't get the assignment turned in by the due date, there aren't any points taken off. But those are pretty much benchmarks to say, hey, this is when you need to have this in if you want to stay sane this class and get everything done when you need to have it done. This isn't a good class to procrastinate in, let me tell you that much. So, at any rate, let's get started. You should have Microsoft Word 2010 on your computer. If you don't, you can certainly go on the computers on campus, the one that is closest to you, and access it there. If you have 2013, you can still complete the course. There are going to be a couple changes in where you may find things and how things may look, but you still should be good. So, if you have any questions with the conversions for 2010 and 2013, let me know as well. Alright, so let's get started. This right here is Microsoft Word 2010. I've had it open. We're sitting here looking at a blank screen. And you should be familiar with the basics of it. Right up here is the ribbon. And the ribbon has many different options on it and many different little groupings here according to the tabs up here. There's the Home tab, which is pretty much the same across the board for any Microsoft Office suite program. There's the Insert tab, which we'll be using a lot to insert different things into our spreadsheet down here, or our word processing sheet, page, whatever you want to call it. There's the page layout, which will show you the basics of the page that you're working on. You can change colors, fonts, margins. This is where the page setup is, where you can access, our different breaks that we're going to be working with. You can also put, watermarks here. They put watermarks in under page layout and not under insert for some reason, but that's just where they have it. I guess it's like a page feature, so that's why they have that there. So here's the references, and this is basically, this really comes in handy. I use this actually a lot. I'm always writing papers myself, and you can do a bunch of things in this tab. You can put in a table of contents, which is really kind of neat. It does some really neat things, and pretty much does all the work for you. And also the bibliography, where you can insert a citation, and it'll automatically put citations in for you, even APA style, which is awesome because it saves you a lot of looking up of stuff. So you can put in a table of figures if you have figures within your document. It's the same concept as everything else. Mailings will work with this later. This basically works with Excel. It works with databases of names and addresses and a couple other different things that we can put within a document or a mailing, a letter, or whatnot. So it's pretty useless. I don't say useless, but you need Microsoft Excel to really work it. You can work it with Word, but it makes your life much easier if you have Excel to work with this. My mouse is going crazy. The review tab, pretty much this is just spelling and grammar, has a thesaurus, language. You can change your language if you want to mess with your friends. You can change it to French. Unless they know French, then they're good to go. You can track changes here. We'll get into that later. This is if you're working in collaboration with someone else, or if you're correcting a paper, making edits to a paper that you want to track all the edits that you're doing. We'll get into that later. And a couple other different things. You can restrict editing, where you can make it so people can't do anything to your paper. And the view tab, you can change the different views. We'll go over them later. But this is where you access the ruler. You can put grid lines in there if you wish. You can zoom in and out here. You can also split the screen. If you had another screen up, you can do that there, or switch windows. Macros, we'll get into them later. Pretty much it's like mini programming within Microsoft Word, where you can program different actions in a macro. That's when they say enable macros or disable macros. The reason why they do that is because a lot of times people will put like viruses in them or whatnot. It's like an exe, like executable program within Word. So it's in comparison. So that's what a macro is. And of course there's add-ins. I have a couple of them on here, and I have Google Cloud Connect, if you can see that on here too, where I have everything through Google Cloud. That's something different. If it doesn't show up on your screen, don't freak out. That's something I downloaded and put as an add-in on mine. So that's pretty much the overview of Microsoft Word. If you turn to Chapter 1, the chapter pretty much goes over the first project. The second project goes over create, saving, and printing a file in Microsoft Office 2010. And the next one is using the ribbon and dialog boxes to perform common commands in Microsoft Office 2010. Pretty much introduction to Microsoft Word. If you'd had the Microsoft Apps class, this should be very easy for you. Or if you've just basically worked with Word, it should be easy for you. If you are not familiar with Word at all, it should be a good little introduction for you. So the basics to this chapter is you have to have, once again, the student CD. It'll come up and there'll be a bunch of files on there. It'll tell you to open files or look within them. First off, if you go through on page 3, it gets to objective 1, using Windows Explorer to locate files and folders. We'll go ahead. Down here is the little start button. They still call it the start button, but in a sense it's just the Windows button, Microsoft button there. I like to say Windows. And right here it comes up with this little strip, the menu that pops up. You can navigate it. I have a bunch of different things on mine that are pinned right here. Pinned means that they're pretty much there every time I open this up, and these are my mostly used programs. You know, I used Adobe Photoshop and of course my calculator. But let's go into Windows Explorer, and this will take you to the basic outline of your computer, where you have your desktop, your downloads, which puts everything that you've downloaded into one nice little folder. I have my Google Drive right here, and recent places. This is pretty much the basic. They're kind of like little mini links. And of course, here's your library, and your library is open over here. It automatically opens up, and it has, you know, all your documents, your music, your videos, and your pictures all in one place. Or you can go to the breakdown of your computer itself, where you have your computer drive. Here's your local disk, your recovery disk, or my recovery disk. This is, you know, if my computer crashes, it holds, you know, pretty much everything that'll reboot my computer if the hard drive hasn't gone kaput. And then of course I have my instructor CD in here. I was uploading stuff and working with it, and so that's in my DVD drive that I have there. So if we go to, I like to go to the desktop. I have some things on there. Okay, so I have this here on the desktop. I downloaded real quick the student data files that you have on your disk. You should be familiar with these, and just kind of put them on my desktop for easy access. And so right here we have a bunch of different options within this folder and what we can do there. Right up here is the address bar of where these files are located. You can actually search student data files if you want to search for stuff up there. You can also go through here and organize things within date modified, which this is I guess the date they were created on the disk, and what type of file it is, JPEG, Microsoft Word document, and the size of it over here. Of course, the name of the file is over here to the left, and our navigational structure is over here to the left, far left. You can also organize it in different ways. You can select all, you can paste files, you can change the layout where you can show the menu bar, or you can take it away if you wish. Let's bring it back because I want to talk about it for a little bit. Right here is, you know, the file little tab there, edit, view, where you can view different things about the files. Tools if you want to map a network drive. Many of you know how to do that. If not, don't worry about it. And you know, you can do different folder options here. This is where you can go in and, you know, show all folders. You can change the view here, where you can have, you know, hidden files in the folders where you can show them or don't show them. Or you can do different things with the search option. So there's that. We're going to go into the next part on how to open a program. I already have Microsoft Word open down here. Let's go ahead and open up PowerPoint, because this is pretty much the same concept. If you click the Start button, Windows button down here, you go. We'll go the long way. We'll go into All Programs, and then it brings up this whole thing right here, and these are all the programs that you have on your computer. If you go into Microsoft Office, and it shows all the Microsoft Office programs that you have, and you just go ahead and click on the one you want to open. Let's click on the PowerPoint. Let's assume that, you know, works the same with Word. Gives you this little loading screen, and there it is, PowerPoint. So they do go over PowerPoint real quick in the text, where it goes over, like, you know, changing text, where, you know, pretty much here is the PowerPoint slide, up here is the ribbon. If you want to insert text, you just click where you want to insert it, and just go ahead and, you know, type what you want to type. Pretty much works exactly like Microsoft Word. This right here, this little flashing cursor, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but it is called the insertion point. So we have a little menu here that we inserted, and you can do a bunch of things with that. It goes through to, you know, type things and delete things, and you can right click on it and a little shortcut menu will show up. This is what they mean when they're talking about the shortcut menu. Pretty much has all the stuff up here in your home tab, only it shows up down here real quick. That way you can do a bunch of things to your text. Also, this little pop-up menu shows up right here where you can do things to your text as well. It does talk about dialog boxes. Now, you know that a dialog box is attached to a menu item up here when it has like this little arrow pointing to the diagonally to the right. If you go ahead and click on that, this is a dialog box. Pretty much is a way to interact with that menu, has additional features to it, some things that you want to access in you know, Microsoft Office. Let's go back to Word real quick. See right here is, you know, the paragraph one where you can access, you know, a hanging indent, multiple line spaces there, the indentation, the spacing before and after a paragraph. So this is a dialog box, and then there's also additional tabs within dialog boxes as well. So it has you perform a little command with the dialog boxes. So we're going to create a folder. I'm going to go back to this. Oh, that's my instructor disk. We don't want that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and create a folder. I went back to my folder on the desktop, named Student Data Files. You can actually create a folder within a folder, and create a folder within a folder within a folder. Kind of like a folder inception there. But it's very easy to do. There's actually a couple ways to do it. Just go on this white space over here, right click, and it brings up this little pop-up menu here. You can go to new. You can actually create a new file from here too. You can create a Microsoft Word document, publisher document, pretty much whatever you want, and it'll just bring up a new one and then save it for you. So let me just Word, just name it Word up there, and see it created a new file for me. And obviously there's nothing on it. It's going to be blank whenever we open it up. We can also create a new folder up here. Go to new folder, Word 2. And we have a new folder to move our file into there. If we right click on this and we go to cut, it will remove the file from here and paste it someplace else. If we go to copy, it'll keep the original file and also copy it into the folder. But we want to cut it. See how it kind of looks a little shaded there. And we'll right click right here and we'll go to paste. And it moved that file into this folder that we created. And in order to close the program, let's go back to PowerPoint. If you look up here, there's a minimize button, there's a maximize button, and then there is a close button. Let's go click close. It'll say, hey, do you want to save this? No, we don't want to save this. Don't save. And it'll close. It's pretty much how easy it is. Alright, so let's go into the different options of saving a file. Just type some gibberish in Microsoft Word. Gibber, gibber, gibber. Okay. Pretty much basically how to save this. You go to File. This is pretty much how to save every program. When you're first saving a document, what you want to do is you want to go to Save As. If you've already saved it, you've already named it, and it's already where it's supposed to be, you can just click Save and it will continue to save it in that place that you had it before. But a new document, you go to Save As. It brings up this little Save dialog box. And it'll say, hey, where do you want to save me? So let's save it on the desktop underneath that folder that I created, Student Data Files. And pretty much what it will do is it'll take the first line of what you've typed and it'll name it as the name of the file. We'll name this gibberish. There we go. We'll put gibberish there, because that's what the document is, pretty much. And there are a bunch of different options here. You can save it as a macro-enabled document. We don't have macros in it. You can even save it as a Word 97 2003 document if the person does not have 2007 or 2010, and they won't be able to open it. There are a bunch of other different documents that document types that I have here, like a template, PDF, which pretty much is a flattened version of the Word document. Rich text format, which has minimal editing features to it, or plain text, which is just a TXT file, has no editing features to it whatsoever. So if you have anything bolded or whatnot, it's going to disappear. It's going to be plain text. We'll just keep it as a Word document. There are a couple different save options here. You probably won't be using these as much. You can also save the thumbnail, which we don't want to do that at this point. It will just take a thumbnail of the picture, a thumbnail of the file, and place it in there. We don't need that, so you just click save, and it saved the document. From this point, we can go up here and just click save, or do the shortcut key of Control S, and it will save the document for you. Now, let's say you wanted to save this document, but you want to save it as something different. You can actually go into File and Save As again, and it'll bring up this little dialog box, and it'll say, what are you doing? Do you want to rename this? And you can say, yes, I do. I'm going to name it Gibberish 2. And if you look up here, it'll say, oh, the name is Gibberish 2 now. So that's that. Alright, so it goes into adding document properties and printing a file. Now if you click on File, this is actually called the Backstage view. Now there are different options that you can go into here. Right now we're just worried about the information, and over here are the properties of the file. It's going to tell you total editing time. You can actually add a title here if you want to. You can put in title, you can add different tags if you want to have search options for it. You can have different comments in there. You put first edition. It'll say when it was last modified or last printed, never. Author, Jessica. You can also add an author here if you wanted to. And you can actually open the file location. So if you want to say, okay, I know this file is open, where did I save it? And it will open the location for you right here, the folder that it's in. You can also show all properties, where you can have a manager of it. You can have who last modified the document. And if you want to print, I don't have a printer hooked up to this computer, but the print options are pretty much the same. Only my print default is Adobe PDF. You can actually print it as an Adobe PDF, but if you click here, it'll give you all of the printers that are attached to this computer. Make sure that you know your printer name where you're printing. That's pretty much the important part. And if it's hooked up to a printer, it'll automatically show up here. You can change how many copies you want to print, how many pages or what pages you would like to print. You can print only the current page or all pages, or custom range. Say if you only want to print pages 2 to 5. You can print one-sided or double-sided if your printer accepts that. You can also change the orientation to landscape over here, which makes it horizontally wider rather than vertically. You can also change the page size. You can also change the margins here, even though they're found under page layout. They do have that option here. And here's page setup, which pretty much has a lot of these same options. So these options are oftentimes in 3 different places. Makes it easier to find. So there's different, odd and even, different first page. This is where you can change how numbers show up. you know, the vertical alignment of the page itself. I know there is a center option for just paragraphs. This is for the entire document. So if you want to vertically align things, we'll click OK. You can see how it put it vertically on the page, centered rather than horizontally. Alright, so it does have projects here that you can work on. If you turn to page 21, it has project 1B Word file that you can go through. It'll have you editing different things and exploring different options in Microsoft Word. I encourage you to go ahead and do that. Your homework assignment is posted on MyPeak. What is due this next week. This is just for chapter 1 right now. I'll be posting an instructional set for chapter 2 within the next couple days, and you'll be able to work on that. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at any time. Once again, these are just the basics. Please go through the book step by step to make sure that you know what everything is called and where everything is. I know if you're familiar with Microsoft Word, you may think, oh, it's alright, I don't have to even look at this, but you really should. At least just look through it, make sure that you know how to do everything. Attempt your homework assignment. If you don't know how to do anything within your homework, if you're stuck on something, email me. I'll help you as much as I possibly can. I do also have Skype hours available for this week. Let me know if you would like to do that as well. You don't have to have a webcam. You don't even have to have a computer for that. You can actually call through Skype on a phone. So, works kind of really neat. So, thank you very much for this editing session. 28 minutes long. It's awesome. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.